Good morning. Welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Tuesday, August 21st, 2012. At about midnight last night Eastern Time in the U.S., a CSX freight train hauling coal near Ellicott City outside of Baltimore, Maryland, derailed. About 21 of the train's 80 cars flipped over, and a number of cars fell off a bridge and landed on automobiles that fortunately were unoccupied, parked under the bridge. 2 people were killed. They were on the bridge. They were not railroad employees. No one quite knows who they are. One of the employees of the CSX group said many of those train cars fell onto the automobiles, literally fell onto cars with the coal. So you have massive piles of coal and heavy train cars on top of cars. Cranes have been brought in to begin to sort it out. In South Africa, here's a real public relations extravaganza. Somebody was really thinking here. Lonmin, the British mining company, has relaxed an ultimatum for workers at its platinum mine in Marikana, South Africa, to return to work on Tuesday, saying that dismissals would not help ease tensions. The announcement came as South Africa mourned 44 deaths around the strike-bound mine, including 34 miners who were shot dead by police. According to a company spokesman, "I don't think it's going to contribute to a more stable environment if Lonmin goes out and puts deadlines and ultimatums and says we will fire everyone if no one comes to work." A spokesman for South Africa's president said that the government had convinced mine managers that there should be no firings of striking miners during this week of national mourning. The violence erupted last week when police opened fire on striking miners who were demanding a 300% pay increase. Barack Obama has warned that the United States military could move against Syrian leader Bashar Assad if he deploys chemical weapons against rebels trying to overthrow him. The president's comments came as a female Japanese reporter was killed while covering clashes in the northern city of Aleppo. In the United States, a system of showers and thunderstorms continues to develop as a potential tropical storm. It's right now about 1,100 miles east of the Lesser Antilles Islands. The Hurricane Center said that there's a high or 80% chance the system could become a tropical cyclone within the next 48 hours. A Tampa area meteorologist for one of the TV stations says that the system could develop into the next named storm, which would be Isaac. Computer models have the system tracking west toward the Caribbean Sea. If it reaches the Caribbean Sea as a tropical storm, it could become a threat to the southeastern United States, and that includes Florida. And that also includes the west coast of Florida. It also includes Tampa, which is preparing to receive about 50,000 visitors for the Republican National Convention, which is going to start this weekend. So people are monitoring that. The chairman of the U.S. Chemical Safety Board toured the scene of the Chevron refinery that caught fire in Richmond, California, near San Francisco 2 weeks ago. He released photos of a gigantic vapor cloud that loomed over Richmond before the cloud caught fire. He called the accident a close call that could have had, quote, an extraordinarily bigger impact on the community. He said that we have seen that the refining sector is having a lot of problems. He said, given the magnitude of the vapor cloud for the August 6th accident, a serious and more careful look will be given. A series of 6 photos showed the rapidly expanding white plume, which suddenly turned black. Safety board officials said the exact size and contents of the cloud are still being determined, but it did go up about 1,000 feet into the air before it ignited and triggered a fire at the plant. About 11,000 people in the San Francisco Bay Area had to go to clinics and hospitals to seek treatment for breathing difficulties. The Italian insurance giant Generali has announced that it plans to sell its U.S. life reinsurance business. The new chief executive officer, Mario Greco, is working to restore the company's profitability. The group has hired Citigroup to advise on the sale of Generali USA Life Reinsurance. The unit may be worth up to $1 billion. Flagstone Re has completed the sale of its Lloyd's business to A&V Holdings, as well as $49.7 million that Flagstone will get for the deal. It's also going to free up additional capital, as it will allow Flagstone to rip up a $159 million letter of credit that the company had to post to comply with its funding obligations at Lloyd's. Here's an amazing story. Faced with growing obligations and shrinking returns, many of the largest U.S. public pension funds have actually increased their exposure to alternative investments to record levels this year. This is despite ongoing criticisms of risks associated with them. Public pension fund managers have poured billions of dollars into alternative investments ranging from Polish energy facilities to catastrophe bonds, as lackluster stock market returns and low interest rates have made it difficult to earn enough. Public plans with more than $1 billion had a median of 15% in alternative investments as of June of this year. It's up from 9.2% last year. The California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, the biggest U.S. pension fund with $237 billion, has a record of 14% of its assets in alternatives. However, CalPERS does not count hedge funds, real estate, or commodities under alternative investments. The South Carolina Retirement System still has 53% of its assets in alternatives as of May 30th. However, it might be remembered that South Carolina's former chief investment officer last year made alternative bets that resulted in manager fees of $344 million. At the same time, the fund had a deficit of $14.4 billion. Well, here's an interesting story. This was from the Philadelphia Inquirer today. A toilet system has been recalled by the Consumer Product Safety Commission of the U.S. Apparently, the toilet system is produced by Sloan Valve Company. It's called FlushMate. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has declared a laceration risk associated with the toilets. They've issued a recall for 2.3 million of them. These are water conservation toilets. They've learned that 304 units have blown up. The explosion shattered the commodes, caused home flooding, and in some cases sent porcelain shrapnel flying. No reports of any damage or injuries yet. However, an attorney who's bringing a class action lawsuit against FlushMate, which is the company owned by Sloan Valve, says fundamentally you can't have toilets that are blowing up. How much more do we need to say about that? Indeed. Well, that's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.